why Shanghai? Well, at 10 years old, I saw a Charlie Chan movie called Shanghai. The concept of that, the romanticism, the mystery of being Shanghai stuck with me. In 1967, at Georgia Tech, I took a course on the Cultural Revolution because being a product of the 60s, I thought the concept that they were espousing there made a lot of sense. In 69, I went to Hong Kong. I stood in the land of the new territories and looked across the border because you couldn't go over there. So I was forbidden to go to China, which made me want to go to China. And in 73, in Hong Kong again, a Chinese department store, I made a purchase, tried to have it shipped to Atlanta. They refused to ship to an imperialist government. So these are the sorts of influences which piqued my curiosity and motivated me to focus on Shanghai, which I have for the last 30 years. I opened the office in Hong Kong in 1979, and while there, had the opportunity to go to Beijing, Canton, and Shanghai. I didn't want to be involved in Canton because all of the big Hong Kong developers were there and the competition would be impossible. Beijing didn't really interest me as a city. You had to use telescope to look across the street. Whereas Shanghai was the place. And it immediately became where I wanted to spend a lot of my time. So from Atlanta into the Middle East, we were working during the oil embargo. I made a trip back through Singapore and Hong Kong in 75, 76, and realized the difference of quality of life, but also the difference in development opportunity between the Middle East and the Far East. So I decided the Far East was where I was going to focus. This is a list of 72 projects or so that we've done in China. Now these range from completed buildings to unsuccessful development opportunities to lost competitions. But it gives the years, the projects, the places. And this map here is a city of Shanghai map with the red spots being the various projects which we've done in Shanghai. From the first, which was Shanghai Center, a real estate development of 2 million square feet, to the most recent, which is a historic renovation development of 500,000 square feet. Now, Shanghai Center, I was living in Hong Kong. I went there really just to get an architectural competition. That's all I was looking for, was to be able to design a building in China. It took 3 years to negotiate this contract. We signed it. The Shanghai government had 3 months to arrange the money to build it. At the end of that time, they called me and said, we can't arrange the money. Can you find the money for us? I thought they were crazy. But I said, okay, if you give me a guarantee on the debt, I'll raise the rest of the money. So in the end, they guaranteed $100 million worth of the debt, and I raised the rest. And this is how we built Shanghai Center. The reason they were able to do that is because in China at the time, there was no such thing as land title. There was no real estate law. There was barely any law at all. So you couldn't get a mortgage. You know, for a bank to have any security in a loan, it had to be 100% guaranteed. So in a sense, a corporate loan. So with the Chinese guarantee, with the guarantee by Portman, by AIG, and by Kojima, we were able to secure all the money to build it, $175 million. So we were set. We were under construction. We were going. Then Tiananmen Square incident happened. We stopped. We had to take everyone out. And to remobilize, we went to the banks and said, we need more money. They said, sorry. So the partners had to put up another $25 million to get the project up and going and finished. So in the first 18 months, we lost another $20 million because not too many people want to go to China after there's been some civil unrest. So Deng Xiaoping made his famous trip to the south in the early 90s, and immediately things turned around. So in 5 years, we paid off the losses, we paid off the debt, and we paid off the equity. So in 5 years, the project was debt-free. And for us as a company, probably the most successful real estate development we've ever done. But from an architectural point of view, by having the opportunity to go into China at that time and to create a mixed-use urban development which really became a facilitator for a lot of other foreign companies and people coming in to develop in China. It had a significant impact on the growth of that city. Now I'm going to show you a variety of projects that we did in the Shanghai area. This was the first design for the Shanghai Center site. It was going to be a combination of a merchandise mart and a hotel. We had this approved, but we couldn't get the money. This was from '79. This was the finished project, finished in 1990. Hotel in the center, 2 office buildings on the side. Why it's called the Portman was a coincidence. We never put our name on a building ever, but we were starting our own hotel operating company and decided that we would use the family name as the hotel operating company. We first had a deal with Peninsula. It was going to be the Portman of Peninsula Group Hotel. But Peninsula at the last minute, and we were 6 months from opening, decided that the quality of the building wasn't sufficient for their standards, and they withdrew. We brought in Shangri-La, so it was the Portman Shangri-La. They had a 7-year contract, at the end of which we didn't renew because they were building another hotel across the street. So we brought in Ritz-Carlton, but the name Portman stayed throughout, and it was really dumb luck because it's become a very significant brand and a very advantageous opportunity for us. This was one of the very early office buildings we did over in the Pudong area called Bumao. We entered the competition for Jinmao. So why am I showing you this? To show you we lost. We got the second most number of points. We were very upset. Huading Mansion. You see how project not too far from Shanghai Center. This did not get built. Wantai, down the South Bund area. New Asia Center next to Suzhou Creek on Sichuan Road. This project is under construction in Hongqiao. It's an office building, twin tower, about 700,000 feet with an adjacent 350,000 retail, outside kind of 4-level mall. We did some ill-fated governmental work, cultural park here. We did a hotel for the bus company. And we assisted the Wangpu district in redoing the master plan for the Bund area because we were in the process at that time of working on a development called the Dongfang Hotel, which is number 2, the Bund, which in the end we weren't able to make a deal with Jinjiang Group to do this as development, but because of the relationship that ensued during that time, they hired us to do the architecture, and that's under construction now. The F1 in Shanghai, we did a master plan for the 400 acres around the F1 site. We were attempting to be the developer for that. In the end, after doing all of that work, they decided they wanted to do a competition. We chose not to participate, but I did get free tickets to the first F1 in Shanghai. Shanghai Arts Center, also another project the government thought they wanted to do but didn't. And something's wrong. Well, I'll just go without that. I'll end up by talking about the latest project we're doing. In Shui District, there's a lot of, it's the French concession, there's a lot of historic housing, historic buildings. You know, some are residences, some are small buildings. But the architectural history is so rich in that area. And the government there finally came to the conclusion that not everything can look like Pudong. They had this rich architectural heritage that was worth preserving. And they, fortunately for us, selected us to do one of the developments called Jinyili. It's historic Shintin, it's Shintin-Li-like, but Shintin-Li was sort of created artificially in that style. But this is the real thing. The Shikaman housing, so the Longtong type housing. And half of this we will redevelop and sell as condominiums. The other half we were required to keep and to hold, which will be retail and a service department hotel. Now this is a high-rise skyscraper discussion, but this project is only 3 stories. And it's unlike today, anything else you can have in Shanghai because you can drive underneath into your garage and directly up into your three-story house. Now, to most Westerners, this would not be very advantageous because the walking lanes are no more from the edge of the stage to here. And you have a lane in front and a lane in back. And the garden you have is probably 6 times the size of this podium. So it's very Shanghainese. It was the first project developed by a Chinese, but in the French district, in kind of a French-Chinese, Shanghainese style. So this is one of the 3 historic renovation projects that the Shanghai government is really focused on, hoping that they will set the standard for what comes in the future. Thank you very much.